The Sage or Breville custom loaf Breadmaker has been a popular model when it's first released from around 2011, and I've had one probably for about the last 14 years or so. It's been very reliable until about 6 months ago it started to make a nasty clunking knocking sound, and over that period of time it's got worse and worse. The Breadmaker still works, it's just very noisy. In this video I'll be showing you what the cause of that is and how to fix it. Now, anyone familiar with my channel is Breadboarding Labs. I normally do videos around making electronics projects. In particular, the current one is a 386 based breadboard PC, but I have also done a video on repairing my Dell XPS laptop. This was fixing the Wi-Fi adapter that started to fail, and that has actually had something like 5,000 views over the last year or two. So I thought that it might be some interest to people who are interested in fixing their Breadmakers. So I'll just show you a short clip of the Breadmaker towards the end of the second knead cycle. So this is typically up to about 20 minutes into the bread making cycle, and the noise starts around sort of 15 to 20 minutes and gets progressively worse. That's pretty irritating. I did some research, but there's not really a good video out there to tell you how to fix this. I did come across a couple of things through AI, but some of the AI advice wasn't exactly accurate. In fact, in the end, I came across West Coast belts, and if you put in the BBM800, which is the model number shared by a number of these devices, so the Breville in the Australia and the US, slightly different model number. If we just click on the BBM800, you can see the BSS and the XL, I think maybe the US models. And this is the drive belt that's required. It's about $17. I ordered two. I think international shipping was about $12. So for about $46 in total, I got two belts, and they arrived after a couple of weeks. So I'll now show you how to fit the belts and how to adjust the tension in the belt as well. So the first thing we need to do is to take the lid off. If we don't do that, it will fall off. I'm just going to put the Breadmaker on its side so you can see the bottom. Now, the main problem with taking the bottom off this thing is that there's two security screws on it. And on my one, it's actually a System 0 type security screw. Now, unfortunately, the size of the head is actually halfway between the two bits I was able to source over in the UK. If you have a 6mm System 0 socket capable of doing 6mm diameter bolts, then you'll be okay. But I'll show you how I've managed to use some circlip pliers to take that off. Okay, so here's the underside of the Breadmaker, and if you just have a look at the panel there, just zoom in, you can see that is the Sage BBM800. And I believe this is almost identical to the Breville model as well. Now you'll see here and here, these are the two System 0 headed screws. Now I was able to actually get these out using these sort of circlip pliers. I was able to locate them in the little lugs that exist on the top of the bolt, and by holding them together with these sort of pliers, I was able to loosen this enough, and then basically we can take these out. If I just, so you may just be able to see the head there is quite unusual. I have lots of security bits and none of them match this particular one. So I'll probably be taking this and replacing it with a different type of bolt once I've got all this apart. So this is what the System 0 security head looks like. And all I was able to do is to use these circlip pliers. I was able to actually fit the prongs of the pliers into diametrically opposite sort of holes there. And with the pliers, I just sort of held them together a bit and was able to twist enough to be able to loosen those. So that's the main problem with doing this repair, is trying to get these bolts out. And you can see from this gauge that they're about 4mm diameter. So I'm going to try and find some replacement bolts that I can actually put in there. So that is the main problem that you're going to have, is if you can get these two bolts out, the security System 0 security bolts out, then the rest of it should be fairly straightforward.
So what you need to do is to take off this screw here, and then we also have to take off all 4 feet. So there's a little screw there holding the rubber feet in, and then there's 3 more screws here we've got to take off. So I'm just going to take all those off, and once we've done that, we should be able to get in and have a look and see if it's a drive belt that's actually causing the problem. Okay, so that's the feet off. Then we just need to take the last 2 screws off. Okay, off it comes. So I believe what the problem is from other videos which have not covered this particular model seems to be that the drive belt has become loose. So we'll check that out in a minute. And if you just have a look at the inside, of this cover, you can see there's bits of dried rubber on there. So I suspect it's just that the belt there has perished over time. So this is the new one. So it looks like it's almost the same size. So I'm just going to try and take this off. I don't believe the 2 gears are actually synchronized at all, so I don't think it matters if they move slightly when we're taking this off, but I try not to move it too much. You just need to try and slip that off. There we go. So if we now try, see how that compares with the new one. Okay, so that is on now. And it does seem to have a similar amount of play in it. So in fact, I have tightened up the screws here, so we just need to undo this screw here, and push the wheel out so that this belt is a bit tighter. What I have done is I have cleaned the inside here. I did off camera use an old toothbrush just to clean up some of the rubbery residue which was existing around the drive wheels there. Now what we need to do is to put this back on. So we do need to make sure that the various holes and things line up, and you can see that this has moved a little bit, so we do need to be a bit careful lining this up. So in fact I had a couple of M4 bolts there, so I'm just going to fit those in. Okay, so I've put the 2 4mm diameter bolts in there. Just going to do those up. Okay, so hopefully that should be done now. So I'm going to make some bread probably tomorrow, so I will video the end of that bread making, and hopefully we won't have any nasty clunking sounds whilst it's in the middle stages of mixing the dough. Okay, so this is almost at the end of the knead 2 phase, so I think that ends at about 2 hours 40 to go. So in the first video it was probably in the last 5 minutes of the knead 2 phase when it was doing all of the clunking and clanking all the time. So it looks like tightening up the belt and replacing the belt has fixed the issue. I would say probably you want to just try tightening the belt first of all. You don't necessarily need to buy a new belt. Try tightening it first. You may very well find that fixes it. What I would say is that there was some wear on the belt, so it's probably going to be worthwhile replacing the belt whilst you're going to all the trouble of taking the bottom off. So it does seem to have fixed the nasty noise coming from the Breadmaker. I hope it has been useful for people.
If you have any questions, please leave comments below and I'll try and get back to you within a day or two. Thanks for watching.